All right, guys.
All right, guys.
Weird or not weird? I don't know how to start this. This is not planned. I've got
Do
one.
like a Macca's one. Like,
Yeah,
you're at the drive-through.
You're at the
place your order,
drive-through.
and you start. I don't know. You start.
Weird or not weird? You're in the drive-through ordering your Zinger box because that's the best, and you feel the urge to talk to someone about Jesus. So you ask the person, "What do you think about Jesus?" Weird or not weird?
Weird.
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 Not weird, but inconvenient.
Inconvenient.
Weird or not weird, you tape off a part, you tape off a section for yourself at church for your own personal prayer, so like praise and worship.
I've never seen that done.
Weird.
I
But it's a
so want
great
to do
idea,
that
and I'm going to do it now.
though. So want to do it.
Yeah. If you pay the Church Plus subscription, you get your own little prayer and worship,
worship.
section
Reserved
down the
seat.
front.
Yeah.
Reserved prayer and worship section.
That-
Reserved altar.
Members only. I love that.
Oh, that's disgusting. Weird or not weird, just stand on the street and yell out, "You're going to hell,"
That's
unless
not
you
even-
repent.
That's terrible.
Stressful.
That's
Stressful.
shocking.
Weird and stressful.
Yeah.
Not wrong though, right? Like, yeah.
Christian is not wrong or right. It's weird or not weird.
Maybe. Well, if people haven't guessed it, we're talking about how to how to talk to people about Jesus or how to share our faith, I guess, without being weird. Because I think we've all experienced a weird version. And just kick it off. And welcome back to the pod. Shayne, welcome back to the
Thank
pod.
you.
Thank you very much.
Have you experienced a weird occasion or moment? What's the weirdest thing when it comes to sharing or talking about faith that you feel like maybe you've experienced or you've witnessed or heard a story of?
I had this moment once where I was at
here
a
we go.
cafe in Newcastle. I completely forgot this happened. And I was with two friends. We went up and ordered. And this table of I think it was two girls kept looking at us and whispering. And we were like, what? And then they stood up and they're like, we'd really like to pay for your meal. I want to talk to you about Jesus.
Oh, wow.
And we were like, don't waste your money on us. We're already saved.
That's brilliant. Don't waste your money. We're already
Yeah,
Christians.
we're good. Bless someone else.
I would have waited for them to pay and then said, we're already Christians though.
That's kudos to admitting that you're
Yeah.
a Christian.
Yeah. Yeah.
Hey, but gutsy for those girls to kind
So
of do that.
Yeah, so gutsy.
But if you weren't a Christian, do you feel like that would be weird? Is that a weird thing? Or is that uncomfortable but not too weird?
yeah, probably uncomfortable. I think you'd kind of feel like you definitely would owe them your time
Yeah.
or something. Yeah, I don't know.
Okay. That's a good story though.
That's cool.
Shayne, what about you? Any good stories around this kind of stuff?
I had an encounter with someone once who walked up to me and said, I'd like to talk to you about God and Jesus. So I said, oh, and before I could even answer, I had a Bible put in my hand.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, a Bible put in my hand, and he said to me, "Now, I don't mean to make you uncomfortable." I was like,
Too
"Well,
late.
you're already there." So that was really a really weird conversation for me. But I'm also the kind of person who I ended up spending about 10-15 minutes with this guy. Having a conversation. So I don't like to, leave people feling awkward or bad or anything like that. So weird situation for
it's
me and
interesting.
uncomfortable. But
Don't do that.
yeah, don't do that.
No.
If I can, skip to the end. Don't do that situation.
Yeah, that's a good story. I'm trying to think of it. If I remember in Newcastle, there used to be these older guys. I don't know what really denomination they were part of, but in Hunter Street, they would stand in Hunter Street and basically be street preaching. But I couldn't really ever hear or understand what they were saying because it was kind of and I'm like, well, I don't really. Can anyone hear them? They know that they're kind of street preaching, but I kind of wasn't wasn't sure what they were saying, so I don't know how effective it was. But everyone knew who they were and what they were about and what they were doing.
Got you thinking.
Maybe, maybe it gets people thinking. I don't know. I can't think of any particular weird. I always find, and it's not really even for like non-Christians, but in church I've had this before, where like someone who doesn't know me that well, it's like you have general chit chat, and they go straight to, "How's your relationship with God?" And you're like, it's just, I don't know. I find that a really strange. I think it's a good question, fine, right?
Yeah.
But like when you don't know someone and it's like that's your go to, like, how's your relationship with God? I don't know. It's a funny question. I always find it I find that one a weird one. Like I hope I don't.
agree.
I try not to do that. I try to say, and I've learnt this from an older, wiser man, and actually Bruce Kay, who was on the he always asks people, "What's God talking to you about?" And I find that's way more easy conversation than like, how's your relationship with God?
Yeah.
Because anyway, I find that one.
I like tagging it on the end of another question too, like, what's going on in your world? What's God talking to you about?
That's great.
I feel like that's also a bit easier, like tagging it on the end of a different question.
Yeah.
Instead of just going. It's like you wouldn't say, like, how's your relationship with your mum? Like, I mean, you might say that.
Yeah,
but
it's
like,
kind of out of the blue a bit.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think we forget that sometimes like God's not just our God and like he's everyone's God. So it's not actually that weird of a question. But it feels like a weird question.
It does feel like a weird question.
I kind of always relate it to like women and pregnancy. Like when you see a woman who has the potential of being pregnant.
Potential?
Well,
Like,
what I'm saying is
you're not sure.
you're not sure.
They've got a bump,
Yeah,
but
they've
you're
got a
not
bump,
100%
but you're not 100% sure. Like you're not going to go up to them and be like, "Are you pregnant?" That's not what you're going to say.
No.
I think that's the same kind of tack that we should use in like this question.
That's a good point. That's a good point. Well,
Cool.
we're going to talk about. We're already talking about how to talk to people about our faith without being.
Yeah.
Have you guys? I think for every believer, like this is our mission, like to share the gospel, to share the good news, to pray and believe that people are going to be saved. It's an eternal thing, but it's also a now thing. But I don't think I've met a Christian like it's like we know we're on mission, but it's still it's a faith step. It's a bold step.
Yeah.
It can be scary to talk to someone about Jesus, to share your faith, and the fear is you just don't want to do it in a weird way, right?
Yeah.
And I think the fear comes from a really genuine place of like, I don't want to misrepresent Jesus because like I love Jesus and he's not weird to me. I don't want to make him weird to someone.
Yeah.
And so I don't want to misrepresent Jesus. Have you guys got any stories of how you've maybe shared your faith with people or how you find that you're best able to share your faith with people?
Yeah.
You might have like a favorite method or like just a way you like to go about it. I don't know.
Someone always, the way that someone kind of expressed it to me once was a lot of time, I think people are scared to share their views of Christianity because of the fact that they're worried about how it's going to be perceived on the other side. A lot of people take offense when you're talking about Christianity.
Absolutely.
Because they always feel like it's coming from an area of judgment. So it's like you are telling me that I need to get my life right. Meanwhile, you don't know anything about my life.
That's a good point.
So for me, it's always a case of I like to get to know the person before I talk about the relationship side of things. So if I can develop a relationship with this person in a way where they feel comfortable enough to just talk to me openly and honestly about normal things in their everyday life, that kind of then opens up doors for me to then start to progress a little bit deeper. So I think for me, it's about kind of laying a foundation where this person feels comfortable with me.
Yep.
You know, ask them about who they are, their hopes, their dreams, their fears, those kind of things. Develop a relationship and then go, okay, cool. And then get them to ask questions.
Yeah.
Because if I can get them to ask questions, it opens up the door for me to talk about my personal relationship with God.
Yep.
And then from that, it goes, oh, well, then they're going to ask me more, maybe, explore those avenues that I've now created. But rather than me so in a way, I'm guiding the conversation still.
Yeah.
But I'm allowing them to feel like they're the ones that are then opening those.
Yeah. And just so that people listening, I know you well, just so people don't misunderstand you, like you genuinely love people. Like you're not saying
Oh,
that you're like
Yeah.
you're putting on a ruse to get
Yes.
to know this person just so that you can share Jesus. Like you
No.
genuinely like people and love people. You're talking
Yeah.
about genuinely connecting with them,
Mm.
which then opens doors to connection.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
No, there has to be a sense
to
of
be- people
sincerity.
know, right?
Yeah. People can see through fakeness nowadays. I think there's so much out there that is fake. And that extends into that authentic connection that you're talking about in a relationship as well. So I think there has to be a level of sincerity in it.
Yeah.
Because in the sincerity, that's where people are allowed to be vulnerable.
Yep.
And talking about faith and those kind of things is a vulnerable thing. And it might, like you say, stem from a place where there's insecurity or whatever it is. But I think for me, the key thing is sincerity. I love people. And I've had many relationships with people where I've never spoken about God.
Yeah.
You know, it's not to say that, like you say, well, that's the only thing I'm wanting to talk about in developing a relationship.
Yeah.
You know, I have relationships with people that are Christian, people that aren't Christian, people that are Muslim, people that are, you know, Hindus or Buddhists or whatever the case is. But for me, it's getting them to ask the question from me rather than me constantly bringing it up, because that's where true openness comes from, I think.
I think I get I've heard someone talking about like relationships and building relationships sometimes can be like, if we're islands, the relationship building is like the bridge between the islands. And sharing something like our story of our faith, you know, needs a bridge for that to carry across too, rather than, you know what I mean? Like, so you're talking about kind of building that bridge, like actually having a relationship where you're going to understand and learn and know this person in a real, genuine way. And then if the opportunity opens up, then you can share. But like you're saying, sometimes it doesn't, and that's okay too. And what about yourself? Have you, like, is there a way that you like to go about it, or you find works for you?
Yeah, similar. I feel like I just like live my life unashamed of what I do. So I will never, you know, lie about what I do for work. You know, if I'm getting my hair done, some random hairdresser will be like, "Oh, like where do you work?" I'm not gonna be like, "Oh, just a graphic designer."
Yeah.
I'm like, "I don't know. I do, you know, graphics and communications for my church here in Newcastle."
Yeah.
Like, I always want to be honest about who I am and what I believe in. You know,
It's a good opener, just talking about church.
Yeah, like I don't want to hide who I am, and that as well, you know, hopefully will make people comfortable with the idea of, you know, church and faith and God, because it's just a natural part of my conversation. Or like, oh yeah, like I'll be praying for you. That's obviously easier with people that have an understanding as opposed to people that don't have an understanding of, you know, prayer and anything, like saying that I'm praying for you. But yeah, just saying things like that, or, oh, sorry, I can't come, like Sunday morning, I've got church, would love to catch up another time.
Yeah.
Like,
you're kind of dropping seeds and little hints and but just in your everyday with the people you're connecting with is what I'm hearing. Like, it's not like you're like, all right, I'm going out today. And I'm I've packed my bag. I'm going to I don't know, hit up some people and talk about Jesus on the street.
Just not being ashamed of who I am and who I believe in, and making that filter through my everyday conversations with, you know, friends and people that I meet and stuff like that.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, it's cool. I feel like I read I feel like this is the way that people receive. Like, they're interested in, like, this is how people, especially in Australia, because I feel like Australians are so relational. Like, no one cares unless they know how much you care already. Like, you're talking about relationship. But there was a McCrindle study, I think, where they talked about, like, they interviewed lots of different people and how they best receive a discussion about faith. And I think the most receptive version for non-believers was just hearing other people's stories about their faith. So rather than you should believe this because of this, and this, they found that the most annoying or obnoxious. The way they received it was just hearing someone else's story, which I guess usually happens with a natural conversation.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, I mean, it's biblical. Like, it talks about your testament will be your most powerful attribute. Yeah. So I suppose it's only natural that's what people relate to. Stories. You know, we spoke about this in our last episode, where that's one of the reasons why I love doing my podcast. is because hearing people's stories is so powerful. You can't argue with someone's
can't
story.
disagree
with
You can't
someone's
disagree
story.
with someone's story. Like,
Yeah.
no matter what you might think or believe, like, you can't argue with what happened in my life and what I perceive to be my truth.
Yeah.
Like, you might have an opinion and things like that, and that's great, but that's your opinion. But I think that's so key, is just having people share those stories and being relatable. Because, we all have stories that are relatable to someone.
Yeah.
We're not the only ones that have walked the journey that we've walked, or, gone through the things that we've gone through.
Yeah.
Everyone's going to have something that they can relate to in that journey. And I think that's sharing that then opens up those spaces to build those bridges, like you were saying.
Yeah, absolutely. Do you guys, I think most of the people that we'd know, or maybe most of the people listening to this podcast, they're not naturally the kind of people that would be like the Bible bashing type. If anything, probably more, maybe a little bit reserved or hesitant and not sure how to initiate those conversations or start those conversations. So everyone's kind of got, I like to think of it as like their own little mission field. Like they got their connections in, whether it's their workplace or maybe it's the 7-Eleven guy that they see every week, or you know what I mean? There's these familiar faces that we know in our lives. And I go, in my mind, that's your mission field. So in my life, I find it's mostly, I work at a church and then I work for myself. So I don't really see many people. And the people I see most of the time are baristas. So I'm like, baristas are my mission field. Like, but I love my baristas, but they're the people I'm connecting with the most that don't, that maybe aren't believers. And but for people that are kind of, so they know they've got these familiar people in their world. Yeah. What's a good conversation? Like say if they're trying to like, man, okay, this week I want to try and intentionally kind of bring my faith into the conversation. What do you think? What's a good way, like an in? Have you found like something that helps you bring it up? Or you mentioned like, someone might say, what did you do on the weekend?
Yeah.
Oh, I went to church. That's a good one. Are there any others that we can think of?
That's probably the main one that I use, to be honest.
Yeah?
Yeah. Like, like if you're at a cafe on a Sunday and they're like, oh, yeah, what are you up to after this? Go on my way to church, and you could be like, do you work every Sunday? If not, you should come check it out one day. Just those simple little easy things like that. I think if you can get them thinking about Jesus or about church in any way, that's already,
that's a really good point.
Something. It's like we did a letterbox drop, and if they look at the flyer and consider God or consider church for 5 seconds, like that's awesome. That's something. So I think if you can filter in any way something about God or something about your church life or prayer life or anything like that, doesn't have to be let me read you this Bible verse, but just anything that can get them to stop and think for a few minutes or a few seconds.
That's really good.
Is a great place to start.
Just kind of, you're just getting them to consider Jesus, or maybe even before Jesus, to consider spirituality.
Yeah.
Maybe it starts with a conversation around spiritual things.
Yep.
And then maybe that leads to Jesus. What about you, Shayne? Is there any particular go-to techniques, or I don't know? It sounds a little bit.
It's kind of I like to see what people's perceptions of Christianity in the church is initially, because often nowadays people have a very interesting perspective of what the church and what a relationship with God looks like, based on very old school terminologies or false ideas about what it looks like. So for me, it's gauging that initially. What does this person maybe think about church, or think about, do they have a faith at the moment, or don't they? What does life look like for them? And then from there, it's kind of, for me, maybe rerouting that perception. So something small. We have a table space on a Thursday night with a bunch of guys that we've started, and we just go to Warner's at the Bay, have a meal, have a beer, and just chat. That's our table space. Yeah. People are like, what? Like, is that church for you guys? Like that's a church meeting for us. It's part of it. Like, it's building a relationship. It's surrounding ourselves in a community of believers. That's what we do. And people who maybe have a warped perception of Christianity would go, but I didn't know that that's church
Yeah,
or
right.
that's part of
Yeah.
church.
Yeah.
You know, it's like, yeah, we're normal people. We're not
Yeah.
we're not like these weird, out of this world kind of beings that, don't do things that our normal human
Yeah.
beings would do.
Yeah,
Like
yeah.
we're normal human beings
Yeah.
that just love God and have a relationship with our creator.
Yep.
That's really good. So you're kind of like, instead of necessarily like, bringing up faith, you're just like helping people clear up their view or perception of it in the
Yeah.
first place, maybe.
Yeah.
It's kind of cool. I remember hearing Tim Mackey, who's an incredible Bible teacher, talk about how he loves this taco place near his house or something, right? It's his favorite taco place. And he loves it so much, so he loves to talk about it, right? So he just, you got to try these tacos. And then if someone's like, oh, I heard that taco place. And so he's like, as soon as he hears someone have the wrong perception about his favorite taco place, he loves to try and help clear up that perception.
Yeah.
And like he tells this story and relates it to us sharing our faith. And he's like, we should just love to help people get a clearer view. That's a good way to do it. So that's really cool. I like that. That's
And
a good.
That's great.
the other thing very similar to that was someone once, I can't remember who it was, but they said it's almost like you and your neighbor are comparing your pools in your backyard. On a hot day, you want to get into the pool, but like, your pool might be better. And your neighbors might be like all grungy and like, swampy and stuff like that, but that's all they've ever known. If you tell your neighbor how bad his pool is, he's going to, put up a wall. He's going to make it harder for the. If you kind of maybe say, hey, my pool's got this, you're not knocking their pool, but you're kind of enhancing how good your pool is.
Oh, yeah.
It's a different kind of angle because people often take offense when you tell them how bad or how wrong something is that they're doing. But if you just tell them some of the stuff that you maybe have the benefit of accessing, where it be in church or, with your relationship with God, you have these cool things that like outflow from that. It's a very different kind of reception that you might receive.
Yeah.
I like that. You're kind of focusing on the positives of.
And you're not
Yeah.
knocking someone else's beliefs. You're just showing how good yours are.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I
great.
like that. Em, did you have anything to add to that? I felt like you were about to say something.
No, I wasn't.
No? Oh, that's totally fine. That's okay on the podcast, which is actually a good segue to like, I wonder if a lot of people feel like they're hesitant to enter into a conversation about faith, right? In any which way or form, because maybe they're a little bit worried like this person's going to have questions that I can't answer. I don't know the answer to. I'm not like, I don't have this quick theological, nicely sewed up answer ready to package back to them. And I know what that feels like. Like I had a friend I used to work with who he loved asking, like people are hungry and interested to learn about Christianity and God and stuff like that. And we used to have like, when the boss was gone, which he was a Christian too, so like I don't think he mind, but like we'd chat for like bit too long about God and spirituality. He has so many questions. It was incredible. I've thought of getting him on the podcast, like because we'd have such long chats. But a lot of the time, I'll be like, actually, I don't know.
Yeah.
Do you think that's a big fear for people, just like not knowing what to say or not having an answer because someone might ask them some like really tricky questions about their faith or try to trick them up? Do you think that's a big fear to why people might not engage?
Yeah, probably for some people. I feel like I'm pretty confident to say, oh, I don't know. Like, but I think as long as you follow it up with either let me go have a think or you do let's think of that together. Like let's journey through that. You know, I think as long as if you follow it up with I'm gonna have a look, I'm gonna have a think and I'll get back to you.
Yeah.
But like we don't need to know everything. Or pointing them towards someone that does have an answer for that.
Yeah.
You know, we all have different gifts and skill sets. So someone else you could think of would have the perfect answer and send
or
them
a resource.
their way. Yeah. So not being ashamed of not knowing everything because we all don't know everything.
Do you think people respect that? Like, you know, if you're just real.
Yeah,
like,
I think so.
Yeah, most people would. You might get the odd
one here and
person.
there.
But it depends on the motive behind the question.
Yeah.
If they asking you to try and catch you out, kind of, and you go, well, I don't know, and then the intention was never to actually genuinely know the answer. It was just to kind of prove a point that they had or something like that. But if there is genuine sincerity in the question of wanting to know the answer, I don't think anyone would be upset with you going, hey, let me go ask someone who might know or point you in the direction that. So I think motive's a big one. What is the motive behind the question?
Yeah, that's good. I think just being honest and upfront and don't know. Yeah, don't just run away.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Imagine
Or don't
that someone's like,
try to say some answer that ends up being like
Don't butcher
really
it.
biblically inaccurate or something.
just start sharing heresy because you're just like the first thing that comes
Trying
to
to
your
get
mind.
something out.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's just words. Just get words.
I think what comes to mind is there was a book, I forget who it was by, but maybe Andy Stanley. But basically he said, imagine a scale, right? Say zero's in the middle. I think I'm going to butcher this. Zero's in the middle, and then you got like -10, +10. Say 0 is the moment that someone considers Jesus. Some -10 people are like, no way, Jesus is like, I hate the idea, I'm an atheist. And that's the kind of -10. And maybe +10, they're not just considering Jesus, they're getting saved, like they're responding and believing. And a lot of the time we feel the pressure to get someone from like -10 to +10 or 0 to +10 in an instant. But really our job's just to like move them along a little bit.
The scale.
Just move them along.
Yeah,
and I
great.
think of that scripture in I don't know exactly where it is, but Paul talks about like someone plants the seed, someone waters it, but God makes it grow.
Yeah.
And then someone else harvests it. And how we don't know sometimes what part of the role we're playing and just notching someone up. And I think that kind of takes the pressure off people's shoulders a little bit when it comes to sharing our faith. I think that can help people. I think I'm going to try and just walk across the room, I think is the name of the book. Just walk across the room. I don't know what camera I'm left to look at. Just walk across the room. It's probably on the bookshelf behind us. But it's a good one. It's really it's talking about what we're talking about today.
Yeah,
just
great.
have a conversation. Just, be natural, be real. What about Christian jargon?
Oh, Christianese. We were talking about this.
Christianese.
Oh, man. I suppose, that stems from a lot of the old school stuff. If you go back in time and, you would go in the like New King James Version was
Thus saith
thus saith the Lord. And you had, your corner street preachers that would stand there. I think I remember someone doing a skit in church once where they role played the scenario between two people on stage and how these two people would have a conversation, and one being a believer and one being a non-believer. And the question was like, well, how are you doing? And this person would respond, I'm saved and I'm living in the light of the Savior. And this other person was just like, what is this person talking about?
Do you think we use more Christianese than we realize in conversations?
I think the more you get entrenched in, when I say entrenched, like you become, plugged into your church is probably the right way of saying it.
You're super churchified.
Yeah,
you're
super churchified. The more plugged into your church you become, the more you're reading your Bible. There's certain languages that are naturally going to change, I would say.
Yeah.
It is only natural that it's like the more I live in Australia, the more I start to sound like an Australian.
I don't know, man. You tend to be
it doesn't might not sound like to an Australian, but it sounds like that to my South African friends. I talk to them and they're like, wow, you are like so Aussie at the moment.
Yeah, wow. Okay.
And I think it's like natural. Like you start to inhabit, the culture and of the kind of country or wherever you stay.
Yeah.
And I think it's the same when it is in church. Like you start to inhabit and become and portray this character of what it is to be a Christian. And that might come with certain words and certain things that we say and the way we say it. I don't think that's bad, but I think it just doesn't translate very well with someone who is a non-believer.
I think the more you talk to non-believers, the more you realize. What do you think about it?
Comes to like your heart behind the conversation as well. Like even saying something like, "Oh, I'll be praying for you." floats differently. Like if you've done a journey with someone, or like, and you're speaking from a place of genuine love and care. The I'll pray for you does actually come off different to if you're trying to be a bit more like preachy and like I will add that to my prayer list. Like I think it does also come a bit more back to your heart posture and your relationship with that person. As to whether it does come off more, jargony or heartfelt.
Yep. Yeah, I think so too. I think it just I guess it comes back to like everything we've just been talking about. Just being authentic. Like, do you authentically love people and care about people?
Yeah.
And authentically want them to hear about Jesus and learn about him? Then I think don't overthink it. Like as you talk to people and that bring it up, it's gonna come across naturally if you just naturally care about someone.
Yeah.
What about praying for people? I guess do you find like praying for people in your world would probably help? If you're praying for that barista or that 7-Eleven cashier or whatever, the way you see them next, you're probably going to be thinking about them differently, right? Like, do you think that's important for the people in our world, in our immediate context? Like, be praying for them. Like, have them on your prayer list. Actually be praying into their world.
Yeah. Yeah, I think so.
I think it's key. I don't think you'll get anywhere without that. How many times have you heard someone coming to faith, like a partner of someone or whatever the case is, or friend, or even a son and a daughter, and you hear the parent or the opposite person saying, I was praying for that person for years or so long. There was an extended period of prayer. It's basically, it's like you're laying the foundation, you're plowing that field.
Yeah, totally. That's really
That's
good.
what prayer is. It's you getting out there and it's plowing and it's turning that soil and it's getting the soil ready so that when that seed is planted,
that's good. That's great.
You're ready. It's ready to get the best environment it can get in order to grow. And that's what prayer is. Prayer is you working that and getting the soil ready.
That's really good because you do hear those stories. Hey, it's like, did you hear so and so? Like they're in church and they're the whole life. I had no idea, but I've been praying and thinking about it. And you're like, oh wow, that's so incredible,
Yeah.
Was there anything you wanted to add, Em?
I think it's just also helpful, like leading into the conversations. Like I always will take time before catching up with someone who, I'm like, oh, maybe I'll mention something about God or something. But I take the time to pray first and say, like, Holy Spirit, would you just guide this conversation? Like, would you give me the right things to say and like give me the wisdom to speak about you and to know if this is the right time or, So I think praying in that sense as well for just structure and guidance and wisdom to have these conversations is really important.
Absolutely. That's really good. I think that's key. That's really important. I think I think all that's going to help people share their faith, share their story without being weird. And look, I think to some degree our faith is going to be weird to some people.
Yeah.
We can't help that. We just don't need to make it more weird.
Yeah.
And just to wrap up, what's one clear takeaway each? Like if you could give a piece of encouragement to anyone wanting to be able to share their faith more, what's one thing that you'd share with them?
I would probably say actions speak really loud.
Yeah.
What was it? Actions speak louder than words.
That's the same.
Be the light and be like Jesus. Like I always think the things that I'm saying to people, I want that to be speaking truth and love and kindness. Words have the power to, bring someone up or tear someone down. Yeah. So in everything that I'm doing, I want to live my life, as best that I can to reflect who God is and to be, his love and all that. So I think having that as a foundation can speak a lot louder sometimes than the conversations. So trying to do that sometimes is easier as well than having the intense conversations.
Mm.
Yeah, that's really good. I think that's a good piece of advice and wisdom because people watch our people do watch our lives, and if it's not congruent with what we say we believe and stuff, then I kind of guess it comes off a bit off. Hey, Shayne, what's one thing you could leave with someone that wants to share their faith more? They want to get better at it. They want to step out a bit more.
That was really good, Em. I love that actions over words is incredible because I do totally agree with that. I think people look at you more than they listen to you sometimes. One thing I would probably say from my side is probably just sometimes we also, during a conversation with someone, we might have these little inclinations to say something in a moment that we might suppress because of our nerves or we're anxious to say it. Listen to the Holy Spirit guide you in those situations. That little inclination, that little maybe like flutter that you're feeling in order to say something in a moment, you have no idea what impact that's going to have.
Yeah, it's true.
Until you say it.
Yep.
You're not responsible for how that is received. You're responsible for listening to that prompt and saying what you believe in that moment to be what God is prompting you to say. How that is received is then on the receiver.
Yeah.
So the person you're talking to. So my encouragement is if you feel led to say something or, in a moment with a conversation with someone, the Holy Spirit is telling you to do it, do it.
Yeah.
Yep.
Like you have got nothing to lose at the end of the day.
Yeah.
Yep.
And if you are in relationship with this person, they will know that it's coming from a place of love.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Whatever that may be.
Yep.
Yeah. That's really good.
Yeah, great.
And that for someone could just be their first scary step. And I guess faith builds. With previous podcast with Bruce Kay talks about faith building.
Yep.
And God's always calling us into a different area of faith. But for that person, like maybe you're a new Christian or something, you're like, I've never really shared my faith. Maybe it could just start with the Woolies checkout person goes, "Hey, what'd you get up to this weekend?" Maybe it is just the first step for you to say, I went to church.
Yeah.
And that could be a big step for someone, right? But that's, just do it.
Absolutely.
We had a guy in South Africa. He's an incredible evangelist. His name's Angus Buchan. He's a Scottish man.
I love a Scottish accent.
But he's laid down roots in South Africa, and he used to do this conference called Mighty Men Conference, and it was basically all designed towards like men, but he would preach, and men would just flock to him. He had an incredible gift from God of just touching these men's life. But he always used to say, when he used to do an altar call afterwards or whatever, he used to say to the men, he used to go, I want you to go from here and I want you to tell 3 people what's happened. Because in that, you have no idea what those 3 people might get from it.
Yeah.
But also the strength and faith that you'll gain from telling those 3 people.
Yeah, great.
Yeah, it's great.
It's a reciprocation action.
Yeah, it's good.
Yeah.
And that is such a beautiful thing when you think about it, because it is. When you share your faith, how good do you feel when you do? But you also don't know what that might do.
You have no idea.
And to that person that you're sharing with.
Even sharing your faith, I think, with people that you go to church with, like sharing what's happening in your life with, your safe people.
It's good practice.
It's great
and
practice.
It's good.
And it's still going to, I get stirred up from so many people at church saying what God's doing in their life. So that's also a great place to start.
That's a really good point. That's a really good tip. That's good.
Yeah.
That's really good. I mean, we could keep talking, but we're going to wrap it up there. I'm trying to think of one more weird scenario that I could throw out there just to finish off the episode. It's going to be funny. Can't think of it.
Someone finishing a sentence with "be blessed."
Oh yeah, is that weird or not? Like,
Hashtag blessed.
say if I get my coffee, my local barista, I'm like, have a good day, be blessed. Like if I'm dropping "be blessed," is that weird?
No, I'm all for it, actually. I feel like every rapper nowadays does it, so why not if you're a Christian?
What about fish stickers? Weird or not weird? Weird? I don't trust the fish sticker.
Each to their own.
Don't do a fish sticker.
Don't do a fish sticker.
Each to their own. Each to their own.
Yeah.
Okay, we'll leave it there. But thanks so much for being with us, Shayne. Thanks for being with us, Em. I think it's going to help people. That was a fun
thank you for having
episode.
me. Thank you.
It was good.
It's been so good.
And be blessed.
Be blessed. Hashtag blessed.